There is so much information that's circulating the internet about the VAT and the private hire operators and what's going on with it. I thought to just do a little video just explaining a little bit about it and with as much information as I have gathered over the last 24 hours. I've spoke to accountants, I've spoke to VAT specialists, I've spoke to the solicitors that was involved in the previous Delta versus Uber court case. And yet it's nowhere near as scary as people are believing online. So I thought to do a quick video. The normal short videos are like 1.5 to 2 minutes. I just couldn't get it covered in that type of video. So that's why I've gone for the long form video. I haven't done it for a while. So bear with me. So yeah, this is all that video is going to be about. Just talking about the VAT, how it affects the private hire operators, how it affects the drivers, and how it affects like Uber and Bolt and stuff like that. You know the score, guys. Give us a little like and follow. And I hope you enjoyed the video. See you in a sec. So, we don't know what's going to actually happen yet. It's still up in the air. They've only released what they're going to be doing, right? For now. They've only released what they're going to be doing. It hasn't come into effect. The TOMS law is still active. What they're saying is you can't use the TOMS law in January 2026. But still, nothing's really changed. Just what they're saying that's going to happen, right? So it's a little bit up in the air. The information's a little bit mismatched going from here, there and everywhere. So I was able to speak to a few people, done a bit of research, spoke to the accountants, blah, 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 just to try and get a kind of general idea of it. So in this video, it's not fact, guys. It's not 100% happening. This is as much information I've been able to gather, facts, and try and put it together, simplify it, just so people kind of understand, okay? That's all this video is over, yeah? It might not be 100% correct, but it's kind of like the best I can explain it, so everyone can understand. Because some of the articles I'm reading online, I'm like that. Can't even understand it because it's so complicated. So technically, let's just simplify it as quick, as easy as we can. First of all, private hire drivers, your Uber drivers, stuff like that. It's not really affecting you whatsoever. It's not going to affect any drivers at all. Uber and Bolt already kind of have dealt with the VAT and the charging VAT and stuff like that. Now, realistically, Uber has always manipulated the figures anyway to best suit them. So realistically, Uber can probably still stay cheap and just reduce what they're taking off the driver. With the algorithm. So it's not going to really affect Uber and Bolt to a certain degree. The fares might go up slightly, but it's not going to be a major effect on Uber and Bolt, to be honest. Multi-billion-pound company, to wangle the figures, complex algorithm. They're not going to really worry. So Uber drivers and Uber, Bolt drivers and Bolt, not much going to change, to be honest, right? So let's go down to the small guys, yeah? The local operators, like in Liverpool, you got your Delta, your Alpha, stuff like that, right? So they work on a agency model, and this is how they won the court case against Uber. So Delta, Alpha, your local companies, if you're working for a local company and you pay like a weekly settle, yeah, and then most of the jobs are between you and the passenger, that's an agency model. So they're not going to be going VAT on the fares with the likes of Alpha, Delta and all them. So Delta actually confirmed it with their drivers. I'll try and put a picture up on the screen there. And they've come out and literally said to all the drivers, we will not be charging VAT on the passengers' fares, right? And then when we spoke to the solicitors who was involved with the Delta Supreme Court case, they got in touch with me or DM News to give me their information. I'd done a news article on that, DM News. Go read the full article, all the information's there. But they technically said what Delta said to their drivers, and it was agency models. You were never using TOMS, so it never affects you. Do you know what I mean? So this only affects private hire operators that was using the TOMS loophole benefit. That's currently getting stopped. Okay, so you're saying, what I'm saying is, it doesn't really affect Uber, doesn't really affect Bolt. They can wangle the figures. Lower down the local operator guys, it's not going to affect them as long as they stick to that model. So who's it going to affect or possibly affect? Well, first of all, I want to explain how it's deemed, okay? So with Uber, the passenger books, Uber takes full payment and then pays the driver a percentage of that payment, yeah? So the actual process of the money goes from passenger to company or operator, and then to the driver. That way, yeah, is making Uber the principal, which means Uber's got to charge VAT on the full fare. Go back to Delta. Delta passenger pays the driver once a week. Delta driver pays Delta for the privilege, or like a commission, or like a settle, or a fee at the end of the week, like 130 quid or whatever. So the process of the money is going from passenger to driver to operator. See the difference? It's going in the opposite direction. So if the customer is paying the operator direct, the operator dealing with everything and then just tells the driver where to go and throws him a bit of money, that means that the company is the principal, like Uber, like your Bolt, and that's where the ruling's going to affect, right? But there's guys in between those two companies, and that's what it's going to affect the most, in my opinion. Okay, so Delta, Alpha, all them not affected because they are charging a weekly settle, and the contract is kind of between the passenger and the driver. Get them aside, right? They're all good. Uber, Bolt, the big app-based guys, they're going to have to pay the VAT on the fares, so that's them. So the guys in the middle I'm talking about is your medium-sized private hire operators that are VAT registered. You got your airport transfer companies, you got your chauffeur companies and stuff like that. So as an example, if you're a half-decent chauffeur company, right, what they do is they charge the client the full whack, and then they get a driver, yeah, that's underneath them, and they'll pay the driver 90% or 80% of the fare. Realistically, they're the principal. So realistically, they're going to have to charge the VAT on the passenger's fare. Okay? Same as like if you're an airport company. If you're a big airport company in, say, Manchester, huge company in Manchester, you're turning over 90k, you're VAT registered, right? When you get a fare, just say it's 70 quid to Manchester Airport. Yeah, because it's the average. Everyone's paying 70 quid, right? But you're taking full payment and then paying the driver the change. Technically, you're the principal. You're not an agency model. So what that means is your 70 quid technically becomes 84 quid because you add the VAT there. And then you pay the driver. The problem is the non-VAT companies, or the companies that have the model, like your Delta and Alpha, they won't have to charge the VAT on the fares. So it's going to massively cause like price wars. That's what I'm seeing. Because like people like go, it doesn't affect anyone. It's just Uber and Bolt. Technically, guys, it does affect a lot of people, just not everyone. Do you know what I mean? Now, like, this is just my opinion. This is what I've read online, what I found out. Do you know what I mean? But if this comes into effect, it is going to affect a lot of people. A lot of people that we don't even think about. Do you know what I mean? But as a driver's perspective, if you're driving for Delta or you're driving for Alpha or ABC Taxis or anyone like that, like a local private hire operator, it shouldn't affect you at all. Do you know what I mean? But it will affect the big dogs, like your Uber and your Alpha, Uber and your Bolt, sorry. And then all these guys in the middle, depending on their own personal situation, it could be affecting them. Now, what I'm saying to everyone now, in my advice would be, if you can, change your model ASAP. Just try your best to change your model, change your terms, wangle something about just to protect yourself. Do you know what I mean? So if you're taking full payment, yeah, and then taking your commission off the driver and paying the driver, try your best just to wangle a bit. Maybe just take a fee, a booking fee, like a deposit, and then get the driver to collect from the passenger when you send them the job. Something like that, just to try and cover yourself a little bit more, guys. But I think that's going to be the major problem. If you're taking full payments up front, then you're picking your driver and sending the driver 90-80% of the fare. That's when you become the principal compared to an agency model. Now, who determines that? No one knows. Do you know what I mean? Who does the HMRC come over and goes, you're a principal model, you charge VAT on passengers' fare. You are an agency model, you don't have to. You just pay VAT on the settle that you collect from the drivers. No one knows. It's up in the air. It's so much, it might not even happen. It was just a discussion that's what they want to do. Do you know what I mean? So I just want to do this video to try and clarify a few things because there's so much information going about online. It's mental. And the things I want to clarify, I'll summarize right now. By the way, guys, do us a favor. Please hit that like and subscribe button, yeah? And whatever social media you follow me on, hit me a follow, please. Much appreciated. Just to summarize, guys, any private hire driver working for a local company, a local operator, nothing will probably change. Your Uber drivers, your Bolt drivers, nothing will probably change for yourself personally. They'll just wangle the figures to not make it too bad. Now, the Uber come out and said that they're going to up the fares by 20% in London because London got affected straight away. But even then, I don't think they will. They might up it by 5-10% and then take less from the driver. They'll be able to wangle the figures, do you know what I mean? But realistically, I reckon the people that are going to get hit the most is those medium operators. The ones that are VAT registered and they're being a principal. That's my personal opinion. But the good news is though, guys, if Uber and Bolt do have to raise the fares slightly, at least they're not going to be stupidly cheap. Where then your local operators like your Deltas and your Alphas can compete a bit better in a per mile basis. Do you know what I mean? So this ruling could possibly put a little bit of power back into the local operators, which is pretty cool. Do you know what I mean? Because we always got to support our locals as best as we can. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, drivers wise, it doesn't affect anyone really. Do you know what I mean? And it's still up in the air. It still might not happen, guys. It still might not happen. But I hope this video just give you a little bit of insight. Everyone was flapping and worrying online. I've done one video with like 70,000 views, and everyone was commenting and going mad. And it's not as scary as things and people are making out. Do you know what I mean? Like some of the mainstream media's coming out and saying like Uber's gonna up their prices where people can't afford it. Do you know what I mean? Realistically, they might just up a touch and take a little bit less commission to wangle the figures. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, hope this video has been a little bit insightful. Please, if I've said anything incorrect or you think you disagree that might happen, like I said, it's educated guessing discussion. It's not facts because no one actually knows. The government released documents explaining all about it. Didn't have a clue what it meant. Done a news article on it though. With the help of my mate ChatGPT, and we've done a news article on that's on DM News as well. That's explaining a little bit more about it. But we've got some articles saying that all private hire operators have to pay VAT. Some are saying that only Bolt and Uber have to, no one else has to. But I reckon the guys in the middle has to. But listen, guys, we're gonna keep rambling on anyway. Time for all the love and support on all our channels: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Thank you very much appreciated, and hope this video's been a little bit insightful. Thanks very much. Catch you all later. Hit that subscribe button, like and follow, and I'll see you soon.